Hello students, before we start our chapter, I would like to request you all to watch our introductory 2 videos given by me so that you will be clear about the 3-step strategy to do Dhamaka in physics exams. We have given the videos in the description box, or you can just click on our videos displayed at the end of this video for either introductory 2 videos or the next videos. Okay then, let's enjoy physics by Mr. Patel, who has a long, profound experience of 29 years of teaching physics in Sainik School, Balachand.
The chapter 12, Atoms, 12.1 point, the topic, that is introduction. The atom model, that is J.J. Thomson's model of atom. J.J. Thomson was the first man to put forward the structure of an atom, that is model of an atom. The first model of an atom was proposed by J.J. Thomson in 1898, and this was popular up to the 1911, that is about 13 years. But it had some limitation. It failed, correct, to explain certain things. Let us see. According to this model, the positive charge of the atom is uniformly distributed throughout the volume of the atom, and the negatively charged electrons are embedded in it like the seeds in a watermelon. That is why the Thomson model is called the plum pudding model of atom. It's just like the uniformly. Actually, Thomson, he was the man to invent the electron. So when atom has an electron, then electron charge was found to be negative. So scientists, they tried to detect the charge on the atom, but atom shown the neutral character. So they thought that there must be some positive charge in the atom. So Thomson gave this model. The electrons are there, positive, and the protons are also positive charge. Proton, they were not knowing that time. Positive charge is also there, and he gave the model like the plum pudding model. So the positive charge is distributed like this uniformly. This is positive charge according to Thomson model. And negatively charged electrons are just like the seeds. These are the electrons embedded in the watermelon. This is a plum pudding model of the Thomson model. This is a Thomson model. It was like that. But it failed. Why? It could not explain the origin of the several spectral series in the case of hydrogen and other atoms. When spectral lines they were observed, it could not explain those spectral lines. Second point, it failed to explain the large angle scattering of alpha particles in Rutherford experiment. The Rutherford worked in the Thomson laboratory for about 7 months, and his 2 students, Davison and Marson, they carried out the experiment under the guidance of the Rutherford. He was expecting some result, so he wanted to carry out the alpha particle scattering experiment, which is not in your course. But in that alpha particle scattering, I will just tell you in the brief. Suppose these are the single atom, you consider singly atom, correct? Instead of drawing the gold foil, he bombarded the alpha particle of radium, about 7 million electron volt energy alpha particle he bombarded, correct? And they were confined after passing from the lead sheet, so there was no chance to scatter any direction. They were confined in the narrow beam, having the energy 7 million electron volt. He told to his 2 students, Davison and Marson, to carry out this scattering alpha particles. He bombarded the alpha particle on the gold foil. Suppose this is the atom of a gold foil, correct? So alpha particle being the positive charge, they scatter like this. And 1 in 8,000, that was retrace its path. It returns having the that is, it shows that alpha particle positive charge. Suppose here it is positive charge according to the Thomson model, then it will repel it will repel, and if it is negative charge, it will again attract. Suppose this is a positive charge, again it will repel, and it will go, the low angle scattering will be shown. So, low angle scattering it could explain successfully, but this retracing in about in 8,000, some are scattered at about a more 90 degrees, some scattered at a greater than the 90 degree, and 1 in 8,000, 1 in 8,000 alpha particles was found to retrace its path, that is a scattering is about 180 degree. So, this could not explain because alpha particle is positively charged, alpha particle has positive charge and it will repel due to the positive charge only. So, Rutherford thought that there should be a positive charge in the center, and he correct. So, Thomson model, it failed to explain the large angle scattering of alpha particle in Rutherford's experiment. Now, Rutherford's atom model. An atom consists of a small massive central core called the nucleus, in which the entire positive charge and the mass, most of the mass of the atom is concentrated in the center core, minute core called the center, and it is called the nucleus, and nucleus is positively charged, and almost all mass is concentrated, and nucleus, he said that from the alpha particle, he concluded that it is positively charged. As in the case of the Thomson model, it is not uniformly distributed like this, but electrons are revolving around the nucleus and the center is positively charged. So, positive charge are not here as per the Thomson model, but positively charge is only in the center, and negatively charged electrons, they revolve around the orbit. The size of the nucleus is very less, 10 raised to power minus 15 meter, that is 1 Fermi meter, and at very small as compared to the size of the atom. Atom size is, radius of the atom is of the power 10 raised to minus 10 meter. So, this ratio is about 10 raised to 5, correct. So, most of the part of the atom is hollow according to Rutherford model. Number 2, the nucleus is surrounded by a suitable number of negatively charged electrons, so that the total negative charge is equal to the total positive charge on the nucleus. Thus, atom as a whole is electrically neutral. That was atom shown the neutral character. So, because there should be a negative positive charge which is equal to the negative charge of electron. So, net charge is 0. So, negatively charged electron. Now, what is the position of the electron? Negatively, he gave the planetary model, like the planet move around the sun in an elliptical orbit. Here it is circular orbit only, that is a limit. Negative charge of electron, negatively charged electrons revolve around the nucleus in various orbits, just as planets revolve around the sun. That is why Rutherford model is also known as planetary model. The necessary centripetal force Fc, C for centrifugal, F for force, is provided by the electrostatic attractive force between the electron and the proton, or positively charged. They were not knowing, they said that it is positively charged nucleus. Thus, for a dimensional orbit in a hydrogen atom, let us see Fc is equal to Fe. Let us apply this Rutherford model to the hydrogen atom. He applied. So, Fc, centripetal force, is equal to electrostatic potential force, correct. So, centripetal force we know mv square upon r, v is the velocity of electron, m is the mass of the electron, that is, see, center is positively charged nucleus, this is nucleus, and an electron is revolving. Hydrogen has one proton and one electron only. So, there is a, say, velocity of the electron is v and radius is r, correct. It is 0.53 into 10 raised to minus 10 or 5.3 into 10 raised to minus 11 meter, we will see in this. So, mv square upon r, r is the radius, m is the mass of an electron, that is 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31 kilogram, and that is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 E square upon r square. You know this, correct. this say charge of the nucleus is q, that is proton charge is the same that of the electron, that is q1 q2 upon k q1 q2 upon r square. R is the distance between two charges, correct. Q is the charge of an electron q1 and q2 is the charge of the proton, that is same, that is E into E, that E square, and k is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0. So mv square by r is equal to 1 upon k q1 q2 upon r square also you can write, and then after you can write one step more and put the value q1 is equal to q2 is equal to E. Barabar. Charge of electron is negative and charge of proton is positive, barabar, but magnitude is the same. Therefore r is equal to, now r, this r, this r square, so r will be cut. You take r on this side, correct, left side, we want to calculate the radius and take mv square here. So 4 pi epsilon 0 mv square will be here and E square. From the equation 1, this is equation 1, mv square is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 r. This is a simple calculation. The kinetic energy k is equal to half mv square. So half of this multiplied by half, 1 by 2, that is 1 by 2, that is 8 pi, that is equal to, correct, E square upon 4 pi into 2, that is E square. Directly also you can write element in this step, E square upon 8 pi epsilon 0 r. This is the kinetic energy. The electrostatic potential energy U is equal to minus k q1 q2 upon r, correct. Electron charge is minus, so it is minus, and it is always minus. Electrostatic kinetic energy can never be minus, because square of the velocity will be always positive. But here electron charge is negative, q1 is negative and q2 is positive, but both are equal. You can write as a q1 is q2 is equal to q, that is E, or E minus E into E, that is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 k is equal to into E square upon r, correct, that is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0, k is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0. This is value of k, constant. The negative sign of U signifies that the electrostatic force is in the minus r direction, that is it is towards the center, correct. That is electron is attracted. If it is positive, then it will fly off. So it will leave it will repel and it will go out of the atom. So it is attracted. Even your potential energy on the earth is also G m1 me into m upon r. If your energy is positive, you can leave the earth, but you are being attracted towards the center of the earth. So electron is also attracted towards the center of the atom, that is nucleus. So negative sign in U signifies that the electrostatic force is in the direction minus r direction, that is towards the center of that is nucleus. The total energy is equal to k plus U, that is this plus this. This is kinetic energy, this is potential energy. This is plus and this is minus. So E square upon 8 pi epsilon 0 r minus E square upon, that is minus E square upon 8 pi epsilon 0 r. That is the total energy, remember. It's an important equation. Total energy of the electron is also negative. This implies that the fact that the electron is bound to the nucleus. If E were positive, an electron will not follow a closed orbit around the nucleus, it will leave even. Now example, let us see the example. For more practice, 12.3, it is a sole example on page number 420. It is found experimentally that the 13.6 electron volt energy is required to separate a hydrogen atom into a proton and the electron. Compute the orbital radius r and the velocity v. We know that total energy is E square upon minus E square upon 8 pi epsilon 0 r. And that is given already, E is equal to minus 13.6 electron volt. So from this we can calculate the radius. So 13.6 into, convert into joules, 1 multiplied by 1.6 into 10 to the minus 19, correct. This is in joule, that is equal to this product is 2.2 into 10 to the minus 18 joules. So here R is equal to E square upon, take this energy E here, so we want R, so correct, R you take left side, R is equal to radius of the atom is E square upon 8 pi epsilon 0 into E. Now E is given, what is E? 2.2 into 10 raised to minus 18. So R is equal to this is K by 2, 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 is K. So 2 you take here, K by 2, and K is here, that is 9 into 10 raised to power 9 Newton meter square upon Coulomb square into 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 square, E square, charge of an electron 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 Coulomb and square of the E, correct. So this is K by 2 E square. Now R, sorry E, what is E? We have already calculated, and that is equal to R, 2.2 into minus 2.2 into 10 raised to minus 18 joules, that is equal to 5.3 into 10 raised to minus 11 meter, or 0.53 also you can say into 10 raised to minus 10 meter, that is 0.5 Armstrong unit also you can say, correct. 1 Armstrong unit is 10 raised to minus 10. So this you can write in another unit also, that is 0.53 Armstrong unit also, correct. Armstrong unit is 10 raised to minus 10 meters. So multiply by 10, correct. This will be correct. This is minus 10, you take 1 here, that is 0.53, that is less than 1 Armstrong unit. Now velocity. Take same, consider this again equation, V square you take here, V square is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 into R, epsilon 0 m R, V square you take here. So V square is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 m R, R we have already calculated, 5.3 into 10 raised to minus 11 meters, the radius of the hydrogen atom, that is distance from the nucleus to the orbit. So V is equal to E upon under root 4 pi epsilon 0 m R, correct. This calculation comes to put the value of this 1.4 pi epsilon 0, that is 9 into 10 raised to 9, and E electronic charge, that is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 Coulomb. Mass of the electron 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31 kilogram, and our radius 5.3 into 10 raised to minus 11. You will get this 2.2 into 10 raised to 6 is very high velocity, meter per second, consider. See the force. Studied that atomic spectra. Now the condensed matter, that is solids and liquids and dense gases. Dense gases under high pressure, not low pressure. They will give the line spectra, the characteristic spectra it is called. It is also called the atomic spectra. It has 3 names: atomic spectra, characteristic spectra, or line spectra, correct. But dense gases, like in the sun gives a continuous spectrum, or solid, say the piece of iron, when you heat, it will emit the continuous, thousands of line it emits, correct. Even gases and liquids also, correct, because molecules and atoms, they are very close in that. But a rarefied gas, correct, if it is a rarefied, there are several wavelengths are present, because this is continuous, that is many wavelengths, many colors are present in this spectrum. But the radiation is due to the oscillation of atoms and molecules. Now let us see about the line spectra. In contrast, light emitted from rarefied gases, here it is a dense gases like a sun gives a continuous, but rarefied gases in the discharge tube, when high potential is applied, or say the neon arc lamp, or sodium vapor lamp, mercury vapor lamp, correct, neon, mercury or sodium vapor lamp. You must have seen sodium gives a yellow light of having the wavelength, 2 wavelength, 5890 Armstrong unit and 5896 Armstrong unit, but we consider as a 58990 approximately, and that is approximately we take the 6000 Armstrong unit or 6 100 nanometer also. This is average wavelength of the yellow light in the solar spectrum. That is correct. So, Mercury, they give the line spectra, characteristics, discrete wavelength. That is called atomic spectra or characteristic spectra or line spectra. There is a lines and the position of lines is also fixed. That doesn't change. The spectrum appears as a series of bright lines. Hence, the radiation emitted can be considered due to the individual atom. So, it is a characteristic of the element. If yellow light, you can say it is a sodium. For an example, if you keep the sodium chloride salt solution and put a piece of cloth and put the piece of cloth over the flame. This piece of cloth is soaked in the sodium chloride solution. This is sodium chloride. When it is heated, sodium will vaporize and it will give the yellow light of about wavelength 95890 Austin unit. Correct. This is what the Young's double slit experiment, he used first the sodium vapor lamp, spirit lamp he used and use the sodium solution. Correct. So, remember these are the rarefied gases, that is they give the line spectra or characteristic spectra, and that is called the atomic spectra also, because atoms in excited state they emit the spectra. When electron jump from one orbit to another orbit, it emits the radiation which is the characteristic of that element. Here it is you can say it is a sodium element. The atomic spectra, that is continued from the last lectures. Each element has a characteristic spectrum of radiation which it emits. That is, suppose the sodium emits the yellow light of having the wavelength of about 6000 Austin unit. Exactly it is a 5890 Austin unit and 5896 Austin unit. Almost we take as a 1. When an atomic gas or vapor is excited at low pressure, you remember it is a low pressure, high pressure it will emit the continuous spectra, it will never emit the characteristic spectra. This is the atomic spectra. There are 3 types of spectra: atomic spectra, molecular spectra, that is called band spectra, and the continuous spectra, incandescent solids and liquids, and high pressure gases at high pressure, they emit continuous spectra as we have already discussed. For an example, sun. In the sun spectrum is continuous spectrum because gases are at a very high pressure inside the sun. But if air is in the discharge tube, air is evacuated, that is pressure is made very less and high electric field is applied, then they will be rendered to the emit the characteristic light. The lines emitted will be the characteristic of the gas field in the tube. Emitted radiation has a spectrum which contains certain specific wavelength only. That is, in characteristic spectra, wavelength has a fixed value, some specific values. A spectrum of this kind is called the emission line spectrum, and it consists of bright lines on a dark background. For an correct, as I told you, if you observe the spectrum of the sodium, you will find the yellow light, sodium in the vaporized form. Study of emission line spectra is a material can therefore be served as a type of the fingerprint for identification of the gases. That is, you can identify the gas, which gas has emitted the particular line, because line's position is also fixed and wavelengths are also fixed. When white light passes through a gas and we analyze the transmitted light using a spectrometer, is an instrument to use to study the spectra. It's called spectrometer. Is a 3 parts: prism table, collimator, and the telescope. We find some dark lines in the spectrum. This dark line, this is the absorption spectra. Remember, dark lines. Why dark? Because you know, according to Kirchhoff's law, you must have studied in the 11th class. That is, whatever it emits at the higher temperature, it absorbs at a lower temperature. For example, iron, it emits the thousands of lines when it is red hot. but it will absorb all those lines which it emits when it is at low temperature. Correct? So, when the white light of the sun, suppose, is composed of 7 colors, different colors. When it passes through the gas, then gas will absorb its characteristic line. Suppose gas emits the yellow light and the green light, then it will absorb the green light and the yellow light in the sun's light. Correct? So, exactly at the place of the yellow and the green light, you will find the black line, but at the position is the same. And we analyze the transmitted light using the spectrometer. We find some dark lines in the spectrum. These dark lines correspond to those wavelengths which are found in the emission line spectra of the same gas. Remember this one. That is, suppose the sunlight has all colors, 7 colors. If it is observed through the flame of sodium, for an example, sodium piece of cloth, you can soak into the sodium solution and held by means of a wire by putting over the Bunsen burner flame. The sodium will be vaporized. When it is hot, it emits the yellow light. When it is observed, sun's spectrum is observed through the sodium, correct? Then it will absorb the yellow light emitted by the sun, because that sun's temperature is more than the flame's temperature. That is what happens. This is called the absorption spectrum. This is called the absorption spectrum of the material of the gas, correct? This material will absorb the line which it emits at the low temperature. Now, spectrum light of the hydrogen gas, correct? This is Lemon series in the ultraviolet region. This is Balmer series. It is in the having the wavelength 365 nanometer is in the visible spectrum. It was observed by the school teacher Balmer. Then Fastern series 820 nanometer. This in the like the yellow range, round about this, and this is infrared region, that is 1875. This line, this correct, up to this is a Fastern series. This is a Lemon, Balmer and Fastern. Now, in the Balmer series, there are lines H alpha, H beta, H gamma and H delta and H infinity. You can see in this both the spectrum, toward the shorter wavelength, the spacing decreases. As wavelength decreases, spacing decreases. Here also the same thing. Here also in the correct. So, in the Balmer series, this series, correct, visible spectrum. In this, there are 4 lines H alpha, H beta, H gamma, H delta and H infinity. This H alpha has wavelength 656.3 nanometer. This is a yellow light, green yellow light. This is 400, that is, you can say blue green. And this one is less than this, that is violet. Violet has a round about 400 nanometer wavelength, and this red has about 800, 750 to 800, correct. So, according to that, this is actually in the red side and end of the red, and this is blue green and this is violet portion. So, H alpha, H beta and H gamma, but they are in the visible spectrum. Remember, not infrared or ultraviolet in the Balmer series. The spacing between lines within certain sets of the hydrogen spectrum decreases in the regular way. That is, when wavelength decreases, spacing also decreases. Each of the sets is called the spectral series. In 1885, the first such series was observed by a Swedish school teacher, John Jacob Balmer, and that is, it is called the Balmer series after his name in the visible region of the hydrogen spectrum. This series is called the Balmer series. He gave the one formula also, empirical formula, that is also called the Balmer formula. This we will see. The lines with the longest wavelength, lambda 656.3 nanometer in the red, it is called H alpha, end of the red, that is this one. The next is the wavelength lambda is equal to 486.1 nanometer, that is in the blue green, that is H beta line called. And the third line lambda is equal to 434.1 nanometer, and the violet, you know the violet has round about 400 nanometer, and red has 6 to 700. Again, this is end of the red, you can see, and so on. As the wavelength decreases, the line appears closer together and weaker in intensity. Intensity is also less, so we cannot see most of the line, but which are weaker, this we cannot observe using the spectrometer. Balmer found a simple empirical formula for observed wavelength, that is 1 upon lambda is equal to r into 1 upon r2 square minus 1 upon n square. N is more than 2, n is equal to 3, 4, 5, n even. The value of the r is called the Rydberg constant, and its value is 1.97 to 10 raised to power 7 meter minus 1. Taking n is equal to 3, we can get the lambda of H alpha line. 1 upon lambda is equal to, that is n is equal to 3, that is H alpha you will get. If n is equal to 4, you will get H beta, and 5 H gamma, and so on. Taking n is equal to 3, we can get lambda of H alpha, that is 1 upon lambda is 1.097 into 10 raised to 7 into bracket 1 upon 2 raised to square minus 1 upon 3 square. Therefore, 1 upon lambda is equal to, this calculation comes about, this is 4, 1 upon 4 minus 1 upon 9, that is 9 minus 4, that is 5, 5 upon 9. If you multiply this, total you will get the 1.522 into 10 raised to 6 meter minus 1. So, lambda is the reciprocal of this, that is 656.3 nanometer, which is the wavelength of the H alpha line, correct. Now, this is a orbits are given, the Lemon series, Balmer series, Paschen, Brackett and Pfund series. So, if electron jumps from the number 2 to the 1, that is, if it jumps on the orbit 1, that is Lemon series. It may jump from the 3 to the 1, from any orbit, higher orbit to the 1, number 1 orbit. The spectrum series is called the Lemon series. If it jump from any other orbit to the 2, that is a Balmer series. Then Paschen, that is, it jump from higher orbit to the 3, and so on, you can see. Similarly, for Brackett, if it electron jumps from the any orbit to the number 4, that is, this is the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then only 2 lines, and so on. And again, this is Lemon, Balmer, Paschen, Brackett and Pfund, you can see, or you can see one more also you can take orbit, that is 7 also, you can take 7th orbit, it can jump from this also, any higher orbit to the orbit number 5, you will get the Pfund series, and so on. This is an energy level diagram. This is ultraviolet series, the Lemon series, same one as we have, this is a circular rings we have given. This is also energy levels. The energy on the ground state, that is n is equal to 1. In the hydrogen case, the energy of the electron in the hydrogen atom is minus 13.6 electron volt. In the first excited state, it has energy minus 3.4. In the second excited state, that is n is equal to 3. This n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3. Its energy is minus 1.5. Energy decreases, correct, and becomes 0 at infinity. N is equal to infinity. So this is when electron jumps for any higher orbit to the first orbit, the series of spectral lines emitted is called the Lemon series. It was observed by Lemon. It is observed in the ultraviolet region, that is frequency is very high. Then if electron jumps from the any orbit to the number 2, that is you get the series, that is Balmer series, or as already we have discussed, that is in the visible region, red, blue, green and the violet, H alpha, H beta and H gamma. Then similarly patch and bracket and foam, correct. If electron jumps from any orbit, higher orbit to the n is equal to 3, then we get the Paschen series. From any higher orbit to the n is equal to 4, then we get the series, that is brackets series, and n is equal to more than 5, that is we get the foam. These are the infrared region. This is ultraviolet. Remember, in between there is a Balmer, that is invisible light. As we have seen that Lemon series is observed in the ultraviolet region, Paschen and bracket series are observed in the infrared region, and Balmer series is in the visible region. Balmer formula in the terms of the frequency, we know that velocity of light is equal to c is equal to frequency into lambda, that is nu into lambda, or 1 upon lambda is equal to nu by c. So 1 upon lambda is equal to r into bracket 1 upon 2 square minus 1 upon n square, and this is equal to nu by c. So nu by c is equal to r into bracket 1 upon 2 square minus 1 upon n square. So nu is equal to c will be on this side, right side. So rc into bracket, you can remember as a RC book of RTO department. Nu is equal to RC into bracket 1 upon 2 square minus 1 upon square, because it's Balmer series, that is 2 electron jumps from any higher orbit to the number 2, that is called the Balmer series in the visible spectrum. Lines are in the visible spectrum. There are only few elements, hydrogen, singly ionized helium and the doubly ionized lithium. They give these lines, correct. Now next is the Bohr model of the hydrogen atom. We know that in Rutherford model, he has given that just like the planetary model in the solar system. So electrons are revolving around the nucleus in a circular orbit. The centripetal force necessary is provided by the electrostatic Coulombian force, as in the solar system the gravitational centripetal force is provided by the gravitational force. So say this is the central nucleus, this is an N nucleus, is positively charged, one proton is there, and electron is moving in the circular orbit. Now this, what happens here, the classical theory makes some prediction. According to electromagnetic waves, classical electromagnetic wave theory, the electron moving in the circle is accelerating electron, and accelerating electron will emit the electromagnetic waves. When electron is accelerating, it will emit the waves, it radiates the energy, correct. So when it radiates the energy, its velocity will decrease. Ultimately it will go on the spiral path and fall into the nucleus. This goes against the postulate which is given by the Rutherford, because there is no existence of electron and it cannot explain the stability of an atom. Number 2, the spectral line observed, as we have discussed in the spectral series, experimental thing, they are having the fixed frequency. Whereas here if electron goes in a spiral path, then velocity will increase, hence lambda wavelength of the radiation emitted will be decreased. So, it will emit the continuous spectra instead of the line spectra. These are the two predictions that the electromagnetic wave theory makes against the Rutherford model. So, Bohr modified this model and we will see in the next lecture. The limitation of Rutherford's atom model. The Rutherford atom model has got some limitation. That is, what are the drawbacks of the Rutherford atom model? Rutherford said that electrons nucleus is at the center and most of the mass is concentrated in the center of the atom called nucleus. Nucleus occupies a very small space and electrons, negatively charged nucleus is positively charged and negatively charged electrons are revolving around the nucleus as planets go around the sun, correct? So, he gave the planetary model of the atom, but it has got some limitation. Let us see. According to the electromagnetic wave theory, an accelerated charged particle must radiate electromagnetic energy. An electron revolving around the nucleus is under the continuous acceleration toward the center. Now, charge when it goes around the circle, it is accelerating. There is acceleration, centripetal acceleration mv square by r. Correct? And when charge is in acceleration, charge is at rest, it won't emit. It has only electric field. But when charge is in motion with a constant field, also won't emit. But charge is accelerating charge particle, it emits the electromagnetic waves. We have studied already in the electromagnetic chapter, wave chapter, that is accelerating charge produces the Hertz experiment. He accelerated the charges between the two plates. The charged particle must radiate the electromagnetic energy. So, when energy is radiated, what would happen? When electron goes and radiating the energy, then its energy will decrease. So, energy will decrease, so radius will also decrease. So, instead of moving in the same radius, it will go on a spiral path. Continuously it will go on move in the decreasing radii. Correct? Another factor is that when it is going on a spiral path, the frequency is changing. Time taken for one round will be, here it is less, here it is more, here it is most, maximum. So, when frequency radiation emitted, that will have the spectrum observed should be the continuous spectrum, but the when it is experimental observations in which it shows the fixed lines, there is line spectra, not continuous spectra. This is against that point. So, there are two drawbacks. So, an electron revolving around the nucleus is under the continuous acceleration toward the center, that is centripetal acceleration. It should continuously lose energy and move in the orbit of the gradually decreasing radii. The electron should follow a spiral path and finally it will fall into the nucleus. But there is no existence of the negative charge in the nucleus, as Rutherford said. So, this point goes against the postulate he postulated. It cannot explain the stability of the atom will not remain the stable. Thus, such an atom cannot be stable. Thus, it does not explain, or it cannot explain the stability of an atom. Number 2, as electrons spiral inwards, their angular velocity and frequency would change, that decrease continuously. So, the frequency of the emitted light will also change. They would emit the continuous spectrum instead of a actual observed line spectrum. That is, characteristic spectrum is observed in the practical, in the laboratory, correct? Now, example, according to the classical electromagnetic wave theory, calculate the initial frequency of the light emitted by the electron revolving around a proton in hydrogen atom. We know that total energy is a kinetic energy plus potential energy, and that is minus 13, it is given 13.6. That is 13.6 into 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 joules. That is minus 2.2 into 10 raised to minus 18 joule. Electron volt, 13.6 electron volt, correct? The total energy of the electron in hydrogen atom is equal to minus 13.6 electron volt, correct? So 13.6 minus 13.6 multiplied by 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19, it will convert into joule, that is joules. This multiplication is minus 2.2 into 10 raised to minus 18 joules. Now total energy is given by the equation kinetic energy plus potential energy. We have already studied, and that is equal to minus E square upon 8 pi epsilon 0 r. That is, we have calculated from the mv square by r is equal to ke square upon ke square upon r, correct? This is ke square, but this is total energy, that is potential energy plus kinetic energy. The total is minus E square upon 8 pi epsilon 0 r, correct? Now, from equation 1 and 2, this is number 2 and this is 1. This is equal, total energy is E square upon 8 pi epsilon 0 r, correct? And total energy, that is 13.6 electron volt, that is 2.2 into 10 raised to, so these are equal. So equalize, minus 2.2 into 10 raised to minus 18 joules is equal to minus E square upon 8 pi epsilon 0 r. And that calculation comes about 5.3 into 10 raised to minus 11 meter. Correct. The energy you can calculate by using the equation, that mv square by r is equal to ke square upon, that is k q1 q2 upon r, correct, as we have already studied. And from that you calculate the half mv square, correct, mv square by r, this from that again you can calculate the half mv square. The total energy comes about this one, is minus E square upon 8 pi epsilon 0 r. So now radius of the atom is E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 mv square, that is from the same equation mv square by r, mv square by r, correct. So mv square, you take this side, so E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 mv square. So V is equal to, now V you take on this side. This equation we have already studied, r is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 mv square, radius equation. Now V square is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 m r. This will be mr, correct. So V square is equal to this. So V is equal to under root E, that is E square, square root of E square is E under root 4 pi epsilon 0 m into r will be here, so mr. And this calculation comes 2.2 into 10 raised to 6 meter per second. This is the velocity. Now we have the second question, the frequency. Calculate the initial frequency of the light emitted by the electron. So for the frequency we need the velocity and the radius. So we have calculated the radius and the velocity from this equation, correct. We have calculated from this equation r, correct, and r is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 mv square. From this we have calculated V. Now we know V and r, so we can calculate the frequency. We know if it takes us, it is not spiral, it is the same orbit, initial orbit. Say this is circumference 2 pi r, so radius distance cover is 2 pi r in the time period. The time taken to cover one circle, travel one circle is t, say. The t is equal to 2 pi r upon velocity, distance upon velocity, simple equation. So 1 upon t is nu. So take the reciprocal of this, that is 2 pi r upon v, instead of that nu is equal to V upon 2 pi r. V and r we have already calculated. Introduce the value, we will get the frequency 6.6 into 10 raised to power 15 hertz. It's a very simple calculation. So, according to the classical electromagnetic theory, the frequency of the electromagnetic waves emitted by the revolving electrons is equal to the nu, that is, whatever frequency of the electron, that will be the frequency of the light emitted, radiation emitted. So, frequency of the circulating electron is 6.6 into 10 raised to 15. So, radiation emitted will be also will have same frequency. So, correct. So, initial frequency of the light emitted is also same. Now, next is a Bohr's atomic model or Bohr's postulates. Now, Rutherford model has some limitation we have discussed. The electromagnetic waves theory makes some prediction against it. So, Bohr, he accepted the Rutherford model, planetary model, in which the centripetal force is provided by the electrostatic Coulombian force. But it has some limitation. Bohr accepted the Rutherford's model and used Planck's quantum theory to explain the spectra emitted by hydrogen atom. He used the electromagnetic wave theory and also he used the Planck's quantum theory. So, Bohr atomic model, so-called planetary model, which is given by the Rutherford also, is based on the following three postulates. Number 1, Bohr's first postulate was that an electron in an atom could revolve in the certain stable orbits without the emission of radiant energy. In Rutherford's model, when electron is going round the circle, it is accelerated and accelerating charged particle emits the radiation, correct, in the electromagnetic waves in the form of. So, radius will go on decrease, instead of going in the revolving in the same orbit, it will go on a spiral path, ultimately fall into the nucleus. But Bohr said it does not radiate any radiation, correct. He gave the orbit stable orbit. The Bohr postulate was that an electron in an atom could revolve in a certain stable orbits. He gave the name stable orbit, non-radiating orbit it is also called, correct. Without the emission of radiant energy, it doesn't radiate any energy, contrary to the predictions of electromagnetic waves theory, correct. So, according to this postulate, an orbiting electron would not emit any radiation as long as it remains in the one of the allowed orbit. So, he gave the orbit that is allowed. Electron is not allowed to revolve in any orbit. Some non-radiating orbits, stationary orbit it is called, and it does not radiate any energy while revolving in this. And he also gave the second postulate we are going to see. They are allowed to revolve in such a orbit that its angular momentum mvr is multiple integer of h upon 2 pi, that is mvr is equal to nh upon 2 pi. We are going to see it. The radiation, as long as it remains in the one of the allowed orbit, correct, non-radiating orbit, that is. These non-radiating orbits are called stationary orbits. They are called allowed orbits are called non-radiating, and they are also called the stationary orbits, remember. Now, second postulate states that an electron revolves around the nucleus only in those permitted orbits for which the angular momentum L is equal to mvr is some integer multiple of h upon 2 pi, that is h is that is L is equal to mvr is equal to h upon 2 pi. For n orbit you can write general mvnrn is equal to nh upon 2 pi also in general for nth orbit, where h is the Planck constant and h is value you know, the 6.63 into 10 raised to minus 34 joules second, joules into second. Thus, the angular momentum L of the orbiting electron is quantized. He used the Planck quantum theory, quantum correct? That is multiple into h upon 2 pi, n h upon 2 pi, where n is the integer and n is equal to 1, 2, 3. If it is first orbit, its angular momentum will be h upon 2 pi. If it is electron is revolving in the second orbit, angular momentum will be 2h upon 2 pi, that is h upon pi, 2 will be cancelled. Third orbit 3 upon 2, 3h upon 2 pi, and so on. It's third postulate. It states that the electron might make a transition from one of its specified non-radiating orbit to another of lower energy orbit. So, energy is emitted only when it jumps from one orbit to another orbit, correct? One non-radiating orbit to the another orbit. When it does so, a photon is emitted, that energy is emitted when it jumps from one orbit to another, having energy equal to the difference between the initial and the final states. So, when it jumps from one orbit to the another orbit of lower energy, then it radiates a photon and energy of photon, correct? You know the energy of photon h nu, which is the difference of the energy of electron between two orbits. The frequency of emitted photon is then given by the h nu is equal to Ei minus Ef. Ei is the initial orbit and Ef is the final orbit when it jumps from I orbit to the F. I is initial, F is final. So, energy in the initial orbit is Ei. E is for energy and I for initial orbit, where E and Ef, Ei and Ef are the energies of the initial and the final states or orbits. The Ei is greater than Ef, then it will radiate. Or if it absorbs, it will jump from the F to the I. Now, Bohr theory through hydrogen atom. Let us apply this. Bohr applied his theory to hydrogen atom and he calculated the energy. Energies of different energy orbits or states. First, we will have to calculate the Bohr radius also. We know that radius is given by the r is given by E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 m v. From that equation, mv square by r is equal to k square upon r, correct? That is already we have studied, and that is equal to, from that you can get for nth orbit, Vn is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 m Vn square, correct? So, Vn is equal to, take Vn on this side, E square upon under root 4 pi epsilon 0 mr, r you take here, correct? So, Vn is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 mr, Rn, and so Vn is equal to square root of this, that is E upon, Vn is equal to E upon under root 4 pi epsilon 0 mr. Correct. Now, from Bohr's second postulate, that is called the quantization condition. It is a very famous, very important. What is quantization condition? That is, angular momentum is some integer multiple of h upon 2 pi, the nh upon 2 pi, and angular momentum is mvr. For n orbit, angular momentum ln, that is equal to mvn rn is equal to nh upon 2 pi. See the equation number 3. Give this equation number 2. This is as a 1. This is 2. Correct? This one. So, Rn is equal to, from the Rn is equal to, take mvn here. So, nh upon 2 pi mvn. Give the equation number 4. Now, comparing 1 and 4. Compare the 1 and 4. We get, put the value of, this is Rn, this is also Rn. So, nh upon 2 pi mvn is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 vn, correct? nh upon 2 pi mvn, this one is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 mvn square. So, vn is equal to, take this, correct? Vn cut, so Vn will be left, m will be also cut, correct? Right? So and take this Vn on this side, so this will be divided. So Vn is equal to E square, this 2 pi will go up, so 2 pi upon NH, NH will be here, into 4 pi epsilon 0, correct? Very simple it is. From 3 again, from equation 3, this one, we get this Vn Rn is equal to NH upon 2 pi. So Rn is equal to NH upon 2 pi m Vn. Already we have get, you can take directly from here also. And that is equal to, now put the value of Vn here. NH, this one NH and this will go up because Vn is denominator. Barabar? So this will go up. NH into 4 pi epsilon 0, and correct? And NH, one NH is here, upon 2 pi, this is 2 pi is already here, this one, m into E square will be down and 2 pi also, correct? So from this you can get. Therefore Rn is equal to n square upon m, correct? N square, n into n is s square upon m. 2 pi into 2 pi, that is 2 pi square, h into h square. So h upon 2 pi square, you can say 4 pi epsilon 0 upon E square. In different form it is same one. Now for n is equal to 1, put the value of n 1, correct? Innermost orbit, what is the radius? N is equal to 1, Rn is equal to s square. This 2 pi square, that is 4 pi square, and this is 4 pi. So 4 pi and 4 pi square, that pi will be left. Pi will be left. So pi m E square, pi m E square, and up n is 1, correct? So it will be s square epsilon 0. This is also 1, correct? This is the Bohr radius. This is called the Bohr radius and represented by A0. So A0 is equal to h square epsilon 0 upon pi m E square. Remember, now let us see the calculation for energy. Next topic. Energy of nth orbit. Energy we know, that is equal to total energy minus E square upon 8 pi epsilon 0 r. Now put the value of the radius from this one, correct? Value of the, this will go up. So m upon n square, 2 pi upon h square, 2 pi upon h square, E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0. That correct? From 6, you put the value of Rn in the equation of total energy. Total energy, so En is equal to Me4 upon 8n square epsilon 0 h square. Correct? So energy decreases as a square of the orbit. You can see, first calculate this. It is total calculation of this is 2.18 into 10 raised to minus 18 joules upon n square. Put the value of epsilon 0 h, mass of the electron, and charge of the electron, mass you know, correct? 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31 kilogram, slowly, or it will be given some data question. And that is equal to minus 13.6 electron volt joules, correct? So that is to be converted into electron volt. So 13.6 into electron volt upon n square. So energy decreases inversely to the orbit, correct? S square of the orbit. Another one important thing is here, this is velocity of an electron decreases inversely to the orbit. If orbit number is 2, the velocity will be 1/4 and so on. Radius increases as the square of the orbit. Radius increases square of the orbit, energy decreases the square of the orbit. Remember, and velocity is directly inversely proportional to n. Velocity, the bigger circle, velocity will decrease. It will take more time. Yesterday, in last lecture, we have seen that the energy of electron energy of electron in the hydrogen atom in the ground state is En is equal to minus 13.6 electron volt upon n square. So if it is a ground state, as n is equal to 1, it will be minus 13.6 electron volt. The negative sign means that the electron is bound to the nucleus. The energy, that is why this much energy is required to remove the electron from the hydrogen atom, or to separate it from the proton, or to take it from the far away. So suppose this is positive proton and this is electron. If we want to remove the electron, that needs a 13.6 electron volt energy, EV plus. Because it has minus energy, total will be 0, it will be liberated. So, or to remove the electron or separate electron from the proton, that much energy is required in the hydrogen atom. Again, consider again we have seen the equation of velocity. Velocity in the nth orbit is equal to 1 upon n e square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 1 upon h upon 2 pi. That is, velocity is inversely proportional to n. These are the constant. So it is how it is related with the orbit? Inversely. If orbit becomes double, the velocity will be half. Similarly, radius. Radius is equal to n square upon m h upon 2 pi square 4 pi epsilon 0 upon e square. Correct? C is simplified, that is equal to, if n is equal to 1, it will be Bohr radius, n is 1, then m 4 pi, and this is 4 pi square, that is pi will be left. So m pi e square, that is pi m e square, and up, this is h square into epsilon 0, n is 1. This is a Bohr radius. Now how radius is related with the n? Radius is directly proportional to n square. So orbit becomes double, radius will be 4 times, and so on. Similarly, energy. Energy is inversely proportional to n square. So energy is inversely proportional to n square. So if radius becomes double, ground state is the first, it will be 1/4. But it will be negative, in all it will be 4 times. Correct? Actually it is negative. So absolutely it is less. So velocity is inversely proportional to orbit, energy directly proportional to 1 upon n square, inversely that is proportional to, radius is directly proportional to. These are two inversely, and radius is direct, but n square. So radius is directly proportional to n square, and energy is inversely proportional to the n square, and velocity is inversely proportional to n. Correct? So from this, Bohr radius was calculated by Bohr, that is 5.29 into 10 raised to minus 11. So Rutherford, which he calculated from mass of particle scattering, that was 5.3. So almost exactly same. And that is, he has accepted the Rutherford model also. There are some few drawbacks to only, which the electromagnetic wave theory makes some prediction against the Rutherford model, which Bohr modified. Now next, 12.5. A 10 kg satellite circles the earth once every 2 hours in orbit, that is, our time period is 2 hours, having the radius of 8,000 km. Assuming that the Bohr angular momentum postulate applies just as it does to an electron in the hydrogen atom, find the quantum number of the orbit of the satellite. Let us apply the Bohr modulus, Bohr postulate, second postulate, which is a famous postulate, correct, to the satellite system. The angular momentum L is equal to mvr is equal to, is a multiple integer of h upon 2 pi. This is a famous Bohr quantization condition, and it is the second postulate. So for nth orbit, mvn rn is equal to nh upon 2 pi. So n is equal to, take this on this side, mvn rn into 2 pi upon h, correct. Now radius is given, radius is 8,000 km, that is 8 into 10 raised to 6 meter. Mass is also given, correct, 2 pi is constant, h is Planck constant 6.3, or here it is 6.63, 6.4 it is given. If it is given, you have to use that one. And velocity. Velocity is equal to distance upon time. So distance covered in one circle is 2 pi r. If radius is r, then distance covered by the satellite, if this is a satellite moving, correct, with the velocity v, the radius is r. The time taken for one round, this is a 2 pi r is the radius r, so circumference this, and time taken for this is time period t. So distance covered in one circle is 2 pi r and time is t, so velocity is equal to distance upon time. Velocity is equal to distance in one circle 2 pi rn upon time period, correct. So put this value in this equation, 2 pi into rn, 2 pi rn and 2 pi rn, that is 2 pi rn square into m upon h into t, h upon t. So 2 pi into radius is the 8 into 10 raised to 6 meter square, that is, into mass is 10 kilogram, Planck constant 6.64 into 10 raised to minus 34 joules second, it is joules second, and this is second, this is in kg. You write the unit, that comes about 5.3 into 10 raised to power 45, very high. This quantum number is very high, that is according to the classical theory, 10 raised to power 45. So 5.3 into 10 raised to power 45. It's a very high number due to the classical theory. Let us see the energy diagram of the hydrogen atom, correct. This is the figure, energy diagram of hydrogen atom at room temperature. It spends most of the time, the electron passes most of the time on the ground state. To ionize the atom and electrons from the ground state, the 13.6 electron volt energy must be supplied, as we have discussed earlier. So if this is the ground state, energy of electron is minus 13.6 electron volt. It is in electron volt, energy in this axis, it is in electron volt. This is the energy, total energy of an electron. If it is from the ground state, it is supplied some energy, this is a, that is n is equal to 1. N is equal to 1 is ground state. Then n is equal to 2 is the first excited state. Remember, first excited state means n is equal to 2. Second excited state, sometimes they ask an example, how much energy is required to move that electron from ground state to the second excited state. Second excited state, that is n is equal to 3. Correct. Then third excited means n is equal to 4, 1 less. Ground state, that is n is equal to 1. So in the first excited state, energy of electron is 3.4. So how much energy is required to move it from the ground state to the first excited state? The energy becomes minus 3.4 minus 13.6. So this difference will be the given, correct, and that will be positive, about 10.6 something we will get. So if it is to be excited in the second excited state, this is second excited state. Second excited state, correct, this one, that is n is equal to 3. Then this is the third one. Third, and so on. Let us see in details. The energy of an atom in the list, that is the list, that is largest negative. It is least on the ground state. When it is revolving in an orbit closest to the nucleus, that is n is equal to 1, that is ground state, when it is very closest to the nucleus. For n is equal to 2, 3, etc., the absolute values of energy is smaller. Absolute value is smaller, 3.4, 1.5, if we not absolute value we consider, this is smaller. Hence, the E is progressively larger in the outer orbit. This absolute is smaller, but actually is negative, so it is larger. This is minus 3.4 is more than the minus 13.6, correct? So, smaller, hence the E is progressively larger in the outer orbit. The lowest state of the atom is called the ground state. The lowest state is called the ground state, with the electrons revolving in the orbit of the smallest radius. Bohr radius E0, you can calculate, correct? That is E1 is equal to n is equal to 1 ground state energy, as we have already discussed, 13.6 electron volt. Therefore, minimum energy required to free the electron from the ground state of the hydrogen atom, how much it is required? 13.6, correct? So, when we want to make it free, the energy of the electron will be 0. So, 0 minus 13.6, that is energy. If we want to make the free, that is far away, energy will be 0. So, 0 minus this is E is equal to, say this is E2, here energy when electron is totally made free, energy is E2, here it is, say this is energy, initial energy on the ground state is E1. So, final energy is E2 minus E1. So, E2 is 0, E2 is 0 at infinity, the R is equal to infinity, minus 13.6, that is equal to, so energy required E is equal to 0 minus 13, that is plus 13.6 electron volt energy is required to remove or to make the electron free from the ground state, remember. It is called the ionization energy. Ionization energy is energy required to remove the electron from the ground state, correct? This prediction of the Bohr's model is in the excellent agreement with the experimental value of the ionization energy. Ionization energy which is obtained by the experimental value, that is also the same. So, it is well agree with the experimental value. So, Bohr is correct. At room temperature, most of the hydrogen atoms are in the ground state. At room temperature, they are on the ground state, correct? But when temperature increases due to the collision or some external energy supplied by some external source, then it will be excited to the other states. So, when a hydrogen atom receives energy by processes such as electron collision of atoms, electron collisions, atom may acquire sufficient energy to raise the electrons to higher energy states, correct? So, actually electrons, they make the collision with the atoms, and when they make the collision with the atom, the energy increases and atoms are then said to be in the excited state. For n is equal to 2, the energy E2 is minus 3.4 electron volt. Therefore, energy required to excite an electron to its first excited state, that is n is equal to 2, n is equal to 1, that is ground state, is equal to E is equal to E2 minus E1. E2 is in the first excited state and E1 is the ground state. The ground state energy is minus 30. So, this is minus 3.4 energy is electron volt is the energy in the first excited state, that is E2, n is equal to 2, and ground state energy E1 minus, that is already we have seen, correct, minus 13.6 electron volt. So, minus 3.4 electron volt minus 13.6 electron volt. So, this much energy is required to supply the electron to move from the ground state to the first excited state, and so on. Similarly, E3 is in the second excited state, that is n is equal to 3, energy of electron is minus 1.51 electron volt. That is energy changes by the factor of 1 upon n square. That also you can calculate, correct. So, E is equal to E3 minus E1, n is equal to 3, and this is ground state of n is equal to 1. Then on the ground state it is minus 13.7, same way as earlier, minus 1.51 electron volt minus this will be plus, correct. So, that is 12.09 electron volt, and so on, correct. So, from this excited state the electron can then fall back. This is temporary state. So, it is unstable position. So, it will jump back to the state of lower energy. When it jumps back to the lower energy, energy will be radiated in the form of electromagnetic waves or photon. Correct? Energy, correct, lower energy orbit, that is emission, it emitting a photon in the process, that is electromagnetic waves, h nu energy is radiated. It absorbs h nu when then it jumps from lower energy to the higher energy, ground state, to the any other excited state. When it jumps back to the ground state, then it radiates the energy. That is the difference between in the energy of two orbit. From this excited state, the electron can then fall back to a state of lower energy, emitting a photon in the process. Thus, as excitation of hydrogen atom increases, the value of the minimum energy required to free the electron, that is, if it is in an excitation, second excited state, energy required to remove the electron from the second excitation will be less. If it is on the ground state, energy required to make the electron free will be maximum. Thus, it decreases. Less energy is required to make the electron free from the excited state. The higher energy state corresponds to n is equal to infinity and has the energy 0. That is, you won't need any energy to remove when it is already in the higher energy state, that is already removed from it. The line spectra of the hydrogen atom. Bohr theory to hydrogen atom. Let us see. He applied to the atomic spectra of hydrogen, correct, line spectra, or it is also called the characteristic spectra. It has three names: atomic spectra, or line spectra, or characteristic spectra. It is a characteristic of the element. Different elements have different characteristics, different lines of, or different line spectra. According to the third postulate of Bohr model, when an atom makes a transition from the higher energy state with a quantum number Ni to the lower energy state with a quantum number, say, Nf, this orbit to Ni orbit to I orbit to F, then that where Nf is less than Ni, that is Ni is this higher, Nf is less, the difference of the energy carried away by the photon of frequency nu If, such that h nu If is equal to difference of the energy from the higher orbit minus lower orbit, that is Eni minus Enf. Now, E energy is given by the equation we have already seen, minus me4 upon 8n square epsilon 0 square h square. Correct? So h nu if is equal to minus m e is 4 upon 8 and n की जगह ni epsilon 0 square h square. Correct? This is ni. Minus this. Instead of this, you put the nf. So me4 upon 8 nf is epsilon 0 square h square. Same one. So this is common. Ni and nf are correct. You take in the bracket. So me4 upon 8 epsilon 0 square h square is common, and the bracket 1 upon nf square minus 1 upon ni square. This is called the Rydberg formula. Correct? So nu if, now take this h on this side. Correct? So this h will be, h square will be h cube. So me4 upon 8 epsilon 0 square h cube into bracket 1 upon nf square minus 1 upon ni square. If we take nf is equal to 2 and ni is equal to 3, 4, 5, so electron jumps from any higher orbit to the number 2, that is first excited state, that is a Balmer series you will get. It reduces to the form similar to, that is frequency is equal to, this is the Rydberg constant R into C, correct. Rydberg constant already we have seen, R is equal to me4 upon 8 epsilon 0 h cube into C, that one from this. 1 upon R square minus 1 upon n square for the Balmer series, because it is electron jumps from any higher energy orbit to the 2, that is we get the Balmer series. If it jumps from any excited state to the first, then we get the Lemon series. If it jumps from any higher orbit to the third, then past tense, then bracket and found, so on. So when it jumps from any excited state to the number 2, we get the Balmer series. If you take n is equal to 3, 4, 5 and so on, correct. So spectral lines you will see. This is the formula you can calculate. So Balmer series, the Rydberg constant R is readily identified to be the R is equal to me4 8 epsilon 0 square h cube into C, and that is equal to, from this you can calculate, you compare this with, correct. This is me4 upon 8 epsilon 0, this same one h cube into C, with this C, correct. The multiplication divided by, that is C, this is, you put it here, one equation. And that is, if you put the constant value, that is m, mass of the electron, that is 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31 kilogram. Electron charge, that is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb, correct. Epsilon 0 already you know, that is and h, Planck constant, that is 6.6 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule second, and c, velocity of light, that is 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. You will get this 1.03 into 10 raised to 7, correct. This is a formula was given by the teacher, correct, and that was also 1.09, the almost same. So Bohr model was accepted as universally. Line spectra of hydrogen atom, continue from the last lecture. The energy h nu if emitted when electron jumps from an initial orbit ni to final orbit nf. So m is equal to me square, me4 upon 8 epsilon 0 square h square into bracket 1 upon nf square minus 1 upon ni square, we have already seen in the earlier lecture. Or nu f, h will be here, so h will be h cube, me4 upon 8 epsilon 0 square h cube into bracket 1 upon nf square minus 1 upon ni square. This is the Rydberg formula for the spectrum of hydrogen atom. The Rydberg formula was given by the first Swedish teacher, that is John Jacob Balmer. So series, this is the Balmer formula, he gave it. This is, compare these two, just same. Thus this is equal to RC. This is equal to Rydberg constant into velocity of light. Correct? So he gave for the lambda, and from that we obtain this formula. Lambda, that is, if you keep the value of the C is equal to nu lambda. So nu will be cut. Lambda you take this side, so 1 upon lambda will be R into bracket 1 upon 2 square minus 1 upon n square, same one. So if we compare these two, this is equal to RC. So R is equal to this, C will be divided. Put this is equal to RC, then R is equal to this divided by C, that is Me4 upon 8 epsilon 0 H cube into C. Correct? This is well agreed. This is the Rydberg formula for the spectrum of hydrogen atom. This is according to Bohr. This is according to Balmer. In this relation, if we take NF is equal to 2, as Balmer take 2, NF is equal to 2 and Ni is equal to, Ni will be more than 2. 3, 4, 5, 6. Electron will jump from the 3 to the 2, 4 to the 2. If we jump from 3rd to the 2, that is H alpha. 4 to the 2, that is L beta. 5 to the 2, that is gamma, and so on. It reduces the form similar to the equation number 3. This is 3, correct? If we take NF is equal to 2 and Ni is equal to 3, in this equation we will get the same one, this form. For the Balmer series, the Rydberg constant R is readily identified to be the R is equal to Me4, R will be equal to this one divided by C, because it is RC. So Me4 upon 8 epsilon 0 square H cube into C. And putting the substituting the value of mass of the electron, charge of an electron, value of the magnetic value of the epsilon 0 and Planck constant H, R is found to be 1.03 into 10 raised to 7. The Balmer, this from the Rydberg, this Balmer series, from this we got the value of, this value is very close to the value, this is obtained from the Balmer series, 1.097. Correct? This is 1.03. So almost same. Obtained from the empirical Balmer formula given by the John Jacob Balmer. Now this is a spectrum. You know, when electron jump, actually the John Jacob Balmer, he gave this formula, empirical formula. Now this is well agree with this is just like the Bohr's formula, very similar. So there are chances of other series also in the hydrogen spectrum. It shows that, correct? So there was a chances of, if you put instead of NF1, instead of 2, if you put 1, then you will get the 1 series. Then if you took, that is jump will of the electron will be from the 2, 3, 4, that is Ni will be equal to 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. If Ni is equal to 3, then Ni will be 4, 5 and so on, another series you will get. If Nf is equal to 4, then Ni is equal to 5, 6, 7, so you will get other series. And later on they were discovered. So Lemon series was after the Balmer series given, the formula, empirical formula given by the John Jacob Balmer. Then after Lemon series was invented, when electron jump from the 2 to the 1, correct? 3 to the 1, that is Nf is equal to 1. Nf is equal to 1. And Ni is equal to maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, any orbit, any higher orbit, correct? So radiation will be emitted. Similarly, when electron is given at the ground state, if electron is given the energy, so here it radiates a photon of frequency nu. Here again, and one more point to be remembered, if this energy difference is less than this energy difference, so when electron jump from 3rd to the 1, frequency will be more and lambda will be less. If it jumps from the 2 to the 1, radiation emitted photon having the frequency nu emitted will be less, lambda will be more. Here lambda will be least, frequency will be highest. If you go up, then frequency will be increases. wavelength will decrease, and so on. So if lambda 1, you can say lambda 2 1 and lambda 3 1, lambda 4 1, correct? Then lambda 2 1 is less than the lambda 3 1 is less than the lambda 4 1. Similarly, frequency 2 1 is less than the frequency 3 1, that is 3 1 is greater than the 2 1, 4 1 is greater than the 3 1, correct, and so on. Similarly, Paschen series, bracket and Pfund also, which is not shown, but I have drawn the figure in the earlier lecture. So this is the line spectra originate in the transition between the energy levels. When electron jumps from one energy level to the another, it emits a radiation, that is higher energy to the lower energy, ground state. This is the lowest one, negative highest, correct? So, but this is the lowest energy. So, the difference of the energy will be radiated in the form of photons. So, here if electron is given, electron at the ground level state, if it is given, supplied the energy, it will go to the higher energy level, jump to the, this is unstable, it will absorb the energy and will go to the higher energy state, but this unstable state, again it will jump back to the ground state to make it atom stable by radiating the same energy, photon of the same energy and frequency. Thus, this agreement between the theoretical and the experimental values of the Rydberg constant, that is obtained by using the Bohr's formula and by using the empirical formula given by the Swedish teacher John Jacob Balmer, provided a direct and static confirmation of the Bohr model, that Bohr model is 100% correct. In equation 2, since NF and this Bohr's formula we have seen already, since NF and Ni are integral, this shows that the transition between the different atomic levels, light is radiated in the various discrete frequencies. For hydrogen spectrum, the Balmer formula corresponds to the NF is equal to 2, we have already seen, and Ni is equal to more than 2. When electron jump from the third to the 2, 4 to the 2, 5th orbit to the 2 level or stage, then energy will be liberated. The results of the Bohr's model suggested that the presence of other series spectra for hydrogen atom may be possible. Those corresponding to the transition resulting from NF is equal to 1 and Ni is equal to 2, 3, etc. NF is equal to 3, already for 2 Balmer has given, NF is 3, then Ni will be more than 3, that is 4, 5, 6, and etc. and so on. Such series were later on identified in the course of the spectroscopic investigation and are known as the Lyman, Balmer, Paschen, Bracket and Pfund series. The electronic transition corresponding to this series are shown in the figure. This already I have discussed the spectrum, correct, energy level diagram. The various lines in the atomic spectra are produced when electrons jump from a higher energy to the lower energy state, correct, and photons are emitted. These spectral lines are called the emission spectra. Emission lines or emission line spectra or emission spectra also in short it is called. Source of energy, so electron will jump from lower ground state to the any other higher state. Precisely the same energy needed by the electron in a lower energy state to make a transition to a higher energy state. The process is called the absorption. Thus, if photon with a continuous range of frequencies pass through a rarefied gas and then are analyzed with a spectrometer, a series of the dark spectral absorption lines appears in the continuous spectrum. You have studied details in the class 11 also. Whatever it emits at a higher temperature, it will absorb when it is at lower temperature. The dark lines indicate the frequencies that have been absorbed by the atoms of the gas. Correct? Now, example. Using the Rydberg formula, example 12.6 on page number 430, this is solved numerical. Using the Rydberg formula, calculate the wavelengths of first 4 spectral lines in the Lemon series of hydrogen spectrum. Lemon series, that is first NF is equal to 1 ground state. So thus Rydberg formula we know H nu IF is equal to me square upon 8 epsilon 0 square H square, and this value is 13.6 electron volt. This is suppose N square is equal to 1 in the energy equation. Bohr's, correct? This energy equation we have seen, that is this one value is 13.6. So you can calculate it. So as C, now this would be written as a frequency is equal to C upon lambda, velocity C is equal to frequency into lambda. So frequency is equal to C upon lambda, correct? That is equal to me4 upon 8 epsilon 0 square H square into bracket 1 upon nf square minus 1 upon ni square. Now this value is 13.6 electron volt when electron is in the first orbit. This is energy equation, n square. N is 1 in the first ground state, that is correct. So 20, this is 20, that you convert into the joules by multiplying 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. I have not shown, you know, number of times we have seen this. So electron volt is to be converted into joules, you have to multiply by charge of an electron. Electron charge is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. That will be joule. Coulomb into volt will be joule. So it is 21.76 into 10 raised to minus 19 joule. So put this value, correct, here. Now simplify this. We want lambda. So lambda IF, lambda you take here. So SC will be there and this will be reverse. Reciprocal of this value is 13.6 will be denominator. So SC upon this 21.76 into 10 raised to minus 19 joules, this one, into bracket 1 upon 1, NF is 1 for the Lemon series, final, barabar. Electron jumps from any higher energy, higher state to the lowest ground state, that is 1. 1 minus 1 upon Ni square. Now Ni may be 3, 4, 5, correct? The 4 lines we have to calculate, so we will put for the first 2, then 3, then 4 and so on. So this comes about calculation 913.4 Ni square upon Ni square minus 1. This is Ni square minus 1 upon LCM is Ni. So Ni square will go up, correct? So this calculation is 9.913.4 into Ni square upon Ni square minus 1. So that will be the same, correct? So this calculation, that is 6.625 into 3 upon this one, 27.76, and this power 19 minus, that will be up. So 19 minus will be plus, so 19 plus 8, that is 27, 27 plus minus 34, that is 7. So power will be minus 7, correct? We will see here again, you can write it here. Into 10 raised to power minus 7 meter. There was a less space, so it was congested. I have written again 2 steps. You need not require to repeat it. Lambda IF is equal to SC upon 21.76 into 10 raised to minus 19. 1 upon 1 minus 1 upon Ni square. This is a Lemon series, that is Nf is equal to 1. So S Planck constant 6.625 into 10 raised to minus 34 joules second into the velocity of light c 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second into this LCM, if it is the Ni square, that is Ni square minus 1 upon Ni square. So this Ni square will go up. So Ni square upon Ni square minus 1, correct? So this calculation, this power will be minus 7, as I told you minus 19 and there will be plus, so 19 plus 8 that is 27, minus 34 that is minus 7. And this calculation 6.625 multiplied by 3 divided by 21.76, that calculation is 0.9134 into Ni square upon Ni square minus 1 into 10 raised to minus 7. So, this final for this lambda IF is equal to 913, this is in meter, so we have to convert it into Austin unit, correct. Then 1 Austin unit 10 raised to minus 10 meters, so this is minus 7, so multiply by 1000, that is this point will shift by 3, that is 913.4 into Ni square upon Ni square minus 1. Now put, correct, when electron jump from 2 to the 1, correct, 3 to the 1, 4 to the 1, 5 to the 1, let us see first, 2 to the 1, the Ni is equal to 2. So, 2 that is 2 square that is 4 and 2 square 4 minus 1 that is 3. So, multiply by 4 by 3, that will give you 1218 Austin unit, correct. See, this is longest wavelength. When it jumps from the 3 to the 1, wavelength will be less, energy will be more. 4 to the 1, still wavelength will decrease. So, wavelength will go on decreasing, frequency will go on increasing. So, lambda 3.1, that is transition from third to the first ground state, that is 913.4 into third, that is square, that is 3 square, that is 9, and 3 square 9 minus 1 that is 8, 9 by 8 and so on. So, similarly 4.1, that is 4 square, that is 16 and 16 minus 1, Ni square minus 1 that is 15. So, 16 by 15, still lambda decreases. So, lambda 5.1 is equal to, when transition takes place from 5 to the 5th orbit to the ground state, 1 or number 1 orbit, n is equal to 1 quantum number, that is 913.4 into that is 5, that is 5 square is 25 upon 5 square minus 1 that is 24, that gives a 951.4 Austin unit, correct. This is almost 1, slightly greater than 1. So, it will be slightly greater than this one. This also is just like that, so slightly greater than this one. So, the answers are given here. So, lambda 2.1 is less than this, is greater than this, is greater than this, is greater than, correct. So, this is least one. So, frequency will go on, the lambda is less, frequency will be more. So, frequency is more, or this frequency is still more, this more and this more, correct. So, lambda 2 is greater than lambda 2.1 is greater than 3.1, lambda 2.1 is greater than lambda 3.1 is greater than lambda 4.1 is greater than lambda 5.1. So, frequency will be in the reverse. So, frequency 2.1 is less than frequency 3.1 is less than frequency, 4.1 is less than frequency 5.1. So, frequency will increase when jump from the higher orbit or orbit number is greater to jump to the ground state. So, in the reverse order, correct. So, if lambda increases, frequency decreases and so on. The de Broglie acceleration of Bohr's second postulate, a quantization condition, that is Bohr's quantization condition is a famous Bohr quantization condition he gave in the second postulate in the atom model. It was the most puzzling, that why the angular momentum of an electron is multiple integer of h upon 2 pi while orbiting in the while revolving in the orbit. So, that was the question. So, de Broglie thought that electron is a particle, and particle has wave nature. It was already confirmed. The de Broglie equation was already confirmed by Davidson and Germer. These scientists, after about 10 years of the Bohr's model, the de Broglie explained this thing, that it has a particle wave nature. Electron is a particle as well as associated with a wave. So consider the motion of an electron in a circular orbit of radius r around the nucleus of an atom. This is a nucleus. Electron is circulating in the orbit. It is associated with the wave, just like the waves on a standing waves on a string. That is, lambdas or wavelengths are multiple integer of wavelength. That is, here also electron is a wave, then associated with the wave, then it should have a wavelength of multiple integer of n, so maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Here I have shown the 4 wavelength. This is the one wavelength, correct? This wave is like this, one wavelength, correct? This is a 2 wavelength, this is a 3, and this one is 4. You can show 2 or 3 or any number, 5, 6, but multiple integer of wavelength. Consider the motion of an electron in a circular orbit of radius r around the nucleus. The nucleus of the around the nucleus of the atom. According to the de Broglie hypothesis, this electron is also associated with a wave character. Hence, a circular orbit can be taken to be a stationary state only, just like the analog of the stationary state of a string, vibrating string, when it is plugged. If it contains an integer number of de Broglie waves length, that is, we must have the 2 pi r, the circumference of the circle is 2 pi r, and if it contains the n wavelength, n is equal to here 4, you can take n, that is equal to n lambda, multiple integer of lambda. But de Broglie wavelength, what is lambda? Lambda is equal to h upon momentum p, h upon mv. So put the value. So this is equal to 2 pi r into n into h upon mv, nh upon mv. So take this mv this side and 2 pi here. So it is equal to mv into r, and take this 2 pi here, then nh upon 2 pi. So mvr is equal to nh upon 2 pi. The angular momentum L of the electron must be L is equal to mv r, and that is equal to nh upon 2 pi, n is 1, 2. This is the famous Bohr quantization condition for angular momentum. Thus, only those circular orbits can be the allowed stationary states of electron in which its angular momentum is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. This is what Bohr said in his second postulate, which he postulated in his atomic model. Limitation of Bohr's atom model or Bohr's theory. Number 1, this theory is applicable only to the hydrogen atom that is having the only one electron, or singly ionized helium atom also. Helium has 2 electrons, so if one electron is removed, that is ionized helium atom will have only 1 electron, or doubly ionized lithium atom, not for other complicated atoms. So this theory is applicable to hydrogen like single electron atom correct, and fails in the case of the atoms with 2 or more electrons, correct, because it cannot explain even in hydrogen also it cannot explain certain spectra, the hyperwise structure. In the spectrum of hydrogen, certain spectral lines are not single lines, but a group of closed lines with slightly different frequencies. Bohr theory could not explain this fine feature or hyperfine structure of the hydrogen spectrum. They are very close, we have seen in upper side, correct, after the 7th, 8th orbit. Then third, it does not explain why only circular orbits should be chosen when the elliptical orbits are also possible. He has given the planetary motion model, just like the planets revolve around the sun, that is a planetary model. So planets moves in the elliptical orbit, then why electron moves in the circular orbit when elliptical orbits are also possible? And last one, the model is unable to explain the relative intensities of the frequencies in the spectrum, unable to account for the intensity variation. So, there is an intensity variation and that it could not explain. So, these are the 4 points. They are the failures of the, or limitation, not failure, is accepted, is failure of the Bohr's atom model. Now, example 12.3 on page number 436. First and second examples are not in our course, is deleted. So, third example of exercise. What is the shortest wavelength present in the Paschen series? You know the Balmer formula, that is correct for shortest lambda of the Paschen series, that is, what is that? Nf is equal to 3 and N1 is, Ni is equal to infinity. This is a final orbit. The Nf is Paschen series, the electron jump from any higher orbit to the orbit number 3. So, Ni should be equal to any 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But what is the shortest wavelength? Then frequency will be highest. So, the orbit will be the highest. So, for shortest wavelength Paschen series, Nf is equal to 3 and Ni is equal to infinity. Now, let us see the Balmer formula. 1 upon lambda is equal to R into bracket 1 upon, that for Balmer series it was 2, for Paschen series it is 3 minus 1 upon infinity square. This is 0. So, R by 9, 3 square is 9. So, lambda is equal to 9 by R. So, 9 upon R, the Rydberg constant has value 1.097 is 10 raised to 7. That is, therefore, lambda is equal to, take this up, 8.2041 into 10 raised to minus 7, correct. This has value 1.097 into 10 raised to 7, not minus. So, lambda is equal to 8.2041 into 10 raised to minus 7 meter. Convert into Austin unit, 1 Austin unit is equal to 10 raised to minus 10 meter. So, multiply by 1000, correct. So, 8204 Austin unit, because this is smaller unit. Correct. So, wavelength belongs to the, now which region, that is infrared. You know the red has about 7500 Austin unit, and violet has 4000 Austin unit or 400 nanometer also you can say. A yellow is average round about 600 or 580 or 550 also sometimes it is given in the book. It has actually two wavelengths, 5890 Austin unit and 5896 Austin unit. We can take it approximately 6000 also Austin unit or 600 nanometer, and you can say. Or if it is round about 500 to 400, then you can say yellow green and so on. So, you know the spectrum,